Hey, welcome to Models and Agents, Episode 3 for February 28th, 2026, your daily briefing on the AI models and agents that are changing everything. And no, not those kinds of models and agents. Let's get into it. Perplexity open sources embedding models that match Google and Alibaba performance at a fraction of the memory cost. All right, that right there is the kind of news that gets me fired up. Real, practical advancements that make high-end AI more accessible. If you're building search tools or retrieval augmented generation setups, this could be a game changer. Stick around as we dive into that and a bunch more from the ecosystem today. So, what you need to know today: Perplexity's new open source embedding models deliver high-quality text representations with drastically lower memory footprints, making them a game changer for resource-constrained RAG setups compared to heavier alternatives from Google or Alibaba. Meanwhile, a wave of arXiv papers introduces innovative frameworks like CultureManager for task-specific cultural alignment and SMTL for efficient agentic search, pushing boundaries in multilingual and long-horizon reasoning. Pay attention this week to how these tools bridge gaps in low-resource languages and agent efficiency, offering fresh ways to optimize your workflows without massive compute. It's all about making AI work smarter, not harder, and we'll break down why that matters for your projects. Let's jump into the top story, because this one has me genuinely excited. Perplexity has open-sourced 2 new text embedding models that rival or surpass offerings from Google and Alibaba while using far less memory. If you're not familiar, embedding models turn text into dense vector representations that power things like semantic search or retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, where you pull in relevant info to boost a model's responses. These new ones from Perplexity are tailored for efficiency, one optimized for short queries and another for longer passages. On benchmarks like MTB, which stands for Massive Text Embedding Benchmark and tests things like retrieval accuracy across tons of tasks, they hit top performance but at reduced sizes. We're talking up to 10 times less memory than Google's Gecko or Alibaba's BGE without dropping accuracy. How? They leverage techniques like Matryoshka representation learning, which basically lets you nest multiple embedding dimensions into one model so you can truncate for efficiency on the fly. It's clever stuff. Compare that to the alternatives. Google's Gecko is solid for general embeddings but can be a memory hog in constrained environments, like if you're running on edge devices or trying to keep cloud costs down. Alibaba's BGE is great for multilingual tasks, but again, it's bulkier. Perplexity's models cut through that by focusing on search and RAG specifically, so if you've been wrestling with high memory usage in your setups, this changes things. Developers building AI search or retrieval systems should absolutely care. It democratizes high-performance embeddings for stuff like mobile apps or budget-conscious prototypes. The practical takeaway? Head over to Hugging Face and integrate them right away for quick RAG experiments. I've been playing with similar setups, and swapping in something this lightweight could shave serious time and cost off your inference. Plus, keep an eye on the community. We're already seeing whispers of fine-tunes and integrations with agent frameworks like LangChain, which could supercharge multilingual search. Just when you thought embeddings were getting commoditized, Perplexity drops this and reminds us the field's still evolving fast. What a time to be building. Moving on to model updates, because the pace never slows. Just when you thought you'd caught up on last week's releases, here comes a fresh batch from arXiv and beyond. First up, researchers from Apple, Stanford, and UW, as detailed in the decoder, revealed how different HTML extractors lead to vastly different training data for large language models, or LLM's. Tools like Trifilitura capture more diverse content than something like Beautiful Soup, potentially excluding up to 50% of web data if you pick the wrong one. This highlights a key limitation in current foundation model training, affecting robustness compared to more inclusive pipelines. If you're fine-tuning models, this matters. Audit your data pipeline for better generalization in real-world apps. It's one of those under-the-radar insights that could explain why your model flops on messy internet data. Next, there's decoder-based sense knowledge distillation, or DSKD, from arXiv's CS.cl updates. This framework distills lexical knowledge from sense dictionaries into decoder LLMs like Llama, improving performance on benchmarks without needing runtime lookups. It outperforms vanilla distillation by enhancing semantic understanding, though it adds some training overhead compared to encoder-focused methods. For builders creating generative agents that need structured knowledge integration, this bridges gaps in models like GPT or Claude. Think smarter chatbots that grasp word nuances better. Then we've got the RUI2 technical report, also from arXiv. RUI2 evolves the AI flow framework for adaptive variable depth computation in LLMs, using 3D parallel training to speed up by 2-3 times over the original RUI while matching models like Qwen2. It enables train once, deploy many via family-based parameter sharing, reducing costs for edge deployment compared to full retraining in something like Mistral. If you're into inference optimization, this balances efficiency and performance perfectly for dynamic agent scenarios. Definitely one to geek out on if you're optimizing for mobile or low-power setups. Rounding out the model news, DLLM is an open-source framework unifying training, inference, and evaluation for diffusion language models, with checkpoints for small DLMs convertible from BERT or autoregressive LMs. It simplifies building DLMs from scratch with low compute, outperforming ad hoc implementations in reproducibility, though it lags autoregressive models like Llama in speed. This empowers community devs to experiment with diffusion for creative generation tasks. If you've been curious about diffusion beyond images, this lowers the barrier big time. All these updates fit into a bigger trend of making models more efficient and adaptable, which is huge for anyone not swimming in GPU resources. Shifting gears to agent and tool developments. This is where things get really fun, because agents are all about putting models to work autonomously. Starting with a new benchmark from Arcata Labs as covered in the decoder, that pits 5 AI models against each other as autonomous social media agents on X. It tests leading LLMs like GPT-4o and Claude in real-time scenarios for social engagement and task completion. This is a step up from static benchmarks revealing strengths in models like Grok for dynamic interactions, but it also highlights latency issues in agent frameworks like AutoGen. The cool part? It's open. Try running the benchmark scripts to assess your custom agent's social capabilities. Imagine stress testing your bot's Twitter game. That's the kind of practical edge this brings. On the research side, SMTL from arXiv reframes agentic RAG for long-horizon tasks with parallel evidence acquisition, boosting accuracy by 7.7 points on QA benchmarks while cutting reasoning steps by 70% over baselines like MirrorThinker. It generalizes across deterministic and open-ended research, making it more efficient than depth scaling in LangGraph agents. Integrate it into your RAG pipelines via the released code for faster multi-step reasoning. If you're building agents that plan over long sequences, this could slash your latency without losing smarts. And don't miss bridging latent reasoning and target language generation via retrieval transition heads, another arXiv gem. This identifies retrieval transition heads, or RTH, in multilingual LLMs like Qwen 2.5 and Llama 3.1. Improving chain of thought reasoning by 5 down 10 points on benchmarks like MGSM through targeted masking. RTHs enhance cross-lingual transitions over standard retrieval heads, which is vital for agents in diverse languages, though they require white box access unlike black box tools in AutoGPT. Experiment with the masking technique in your fine-tuned models for better multilingual agents. It's a novel tweak that could make your global workflows way more robust. These developments are pushing agents toward real-world reliability, and honestly, it's thrilling to see the ecosystem mature this quickly. Now, for the practical and community side, this is where we get into stuff you can roll up your sleeves and try right away. First, there's detecting hate and inflammatory content in Bengali memes from arXiv, introducing BNHIB, a new dataset of 3,247 annotated Bengali memes for multi-label hate detection, paired with the MCFM model that fuses visual and textual features via co-attention. It outperforms baselines on low-resource tasks and solves multimodal challenges in non-English contexts, but it requires multimodal LLMs like Claude for full use. Download the dataset from the repo and fine-tune MCFM for custom content moderation, perfect if you're tackling hate speech in underrepresented languages. Similarly, Safari from arXiv provides a multilingual stereotype dataset for Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa with 3,534 English and 3,206 native language entries using community surveys for cultural sensitivity. It addresses gaps in global AI safety for low-resource regions, though it needs integration with alignment tools like red teaming and Llama Guard. Explore it for fine-tuning models on diverse cultural biases via the open dataset. This is a standout community contribution that's making AI more equitable. Finally, the paper on causality and variance distinguishes concept vectors, or CVs, from function vectors in LLMs, like Llama, enabling better out-of-distribution generalization in reasoning tasks across languages. CVs improve steering over FVs for abstract concepts, but they're compute-intensive for large models. Use the released code to extract CVs in your agents for enhanced in-context learning performance. It solves a common pain point in steering models toward reliable reasoning. These are the kinds of open-source gems that remind me why this community is so vibrant. They're solving real problems with accessible tools. All right, things to try this week. If you're looking for hands-on experiments, here's what I'd recommend based on today's news. First, try Perplexity's new embedding models via Hugging Face for lightweight RAG in your LangChain apps. They cut memory use dramatically while holding accuracy, ideal for mobile or edge deployments. Next, experiment with the SMTL framework on a QA benchmark like MGSM to see efficiency gains in long-horizon agentic search. It's a quick way to reduce latency in tools like Crew AI without losing performance. Fine-tune a small DLM using the DLLM framework from a base like BERT. Perfect if you're exploring diffusion for creative text generation on limited hardware. Test retrieval transition. Heads in Llama 3.1 for multilingual CoT tasks. Mask them to boost generalization in your custom agents, especially for non-English workflows, and download the BNHIB dataset and run MCFM for Bengali meme analysis. Great for building multimodal hate detection in low-resource languages with models like Gemini. These are all low-barrier ways to level up your builds this week. On the horizon, expect more open-source releases from Perplexity, potentially expanding to multimodal embeddings for broader RAG applications. Watch for expansions of agent benchmarks like Arcada's to include more platforms beyond X, influencing frameworks like Microsoft AutoGen. Anticipate community fine-tunes of Rui 2 for specialized agent tasks, building on its adaptive computation paradigm. And look out for integrations of new datasets like Safari into alignment tools, advancing safety in underrepresented regions. It's going to be another packed week. Tomorrow, keep an eye on potential expansions from Perplexity's multimodal embeddings, which could shake up RAG even more. That's Models and Agents for February 28, 2026. If you found this useful, share it with someone who's trying to keep up with all these changes and subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's update. The AI world moves fast. We'll help you keep up. See you tomorrow.